Happy Wednesday. We're back. How's it going?
It is going good. How is it going for you?
Good, good, good. So I'm excited. So back talking about Go High Level and all of the things. This week we're talking about the real estate applications. So super excited because I got some ideas around landing pages. So I know we're talking about landing pages and how it's used for real estate professionals these days. So one of the big things I've been amazed by is the ability to use custom domains or like the domain extensions or like get at network.ai or whatever. So
Mhm.
I've been super fascinated by the way you can use those with
Mhm.
landing pages.
Mhm.
So, and I know there's like difference between landing pages and funnels and web pages and all that stuff. But for this particular audience, how as a standard do they use like for real estate professionals, how do as a standard do they use landing pages aside from just a regular website?
Yeah. One thing I never thought about was the listings. So, when you're looking for a house and you go to a listing and you click on it, it's a page. Well, on the back end, those are just mini listing landing pages with the property address as the custom domain, right? And so inside of high level, you have the option to be able to create unlimited landing and listing pages for your listings. So never even thought of that.
Yeah, I never thought about it in context to listings, so that's super cool. And the domain or the custom domains. So let's say my real estate agency was, let's say, just call it Black Real Estate. If it was like, so I had blackrealestate.com. So if I was showing, let's say, a house on Duluth Avenue, let's say I've got a property 2800 Duluth Avenue. So you're saying I could probably make the URL 2800 Duluth Ave dot blackrealestate.com and have that like driver.
Right, right. You can do it before he or you could just do it after. It's usually easy to do it after and have the black real estate as the root domain, and then the address would just be the path
Gotcha.
at the
So it'd be like
end.
a forward slash
Mhm.
2800 Duluth. That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So now on the page itself, what do people you do they usually you put the like the listings and when it's showing and can people like make an appointment to see the property right off of that page?
I've seen both. I've seen and again, it depends on the company and how tech savvy they are and how their tech is set up. So I've seen where you have to contact the listing agent to be able to see the property. I've seen where they have, on the back end where you can just click schedule appointment, and at your appointment time, it'll send you the code to get into the property, but it also has like the agent's information in case you get there and the code is not right or something happens or whatever. Um, and then I've just seen where it's just like a form to that, like an opt-in form. It's really an opt-in form, but it's just a form, kind of like what's on Zillow. And it says, I'm interested in viewing this property. And then you fill out that information. So that's like from the public view. But we know on the back end, like if you're working with the realtor is going to schedule those. You don't have to go do that. But this is for people who are just independently looking abstract
Gotcha.
of the realtor. Mhm.
Gotcha. And that's that's a good point you made around the forms being opt-in. Because I don't think we always think about how effective of a portal those simple forms can be. Because I think one of the things, like with creating landing pages, I used to want to put all the questions that I ever want to know in the form. And then I didn't realize, number one, it's much easier if you just get a name and email. And then number two, you can always follow up with emails to drive them to fill out subsequent information, but just getting them to close on that initial form submission is a big deal. How have you seen the most effective folks out there integrate that form into a landing page?
Usually, so the most effective that I've seen is you have your initial landing page, right? And the information on that landing page leads to you being able to see more information, right? So let's just say it's a page. Okay, I'm interested in, we're talking about real estate. I'm interested in, buying a home. What information do I need? Let's just say we have this opt-in that, hey, I'm gonna give you a download to download in buyer information, right? All the information, a buyer's guide, all the information you need for understanding what your process is going to be like. And then just having them opt into that and getting that download, but then you can send them to the next page that can be all of the information or listings or your listing page of houses, or sign up to get linked up with a lender, or whatever that next page is. But putting the most persuasive information on that first page and then leaving it open-ended, right? So it's kind of like a cliffhanger, the cliffhanger that the shows do. The cliffhanger to want you to want more, so you're gonna put your information in so you can see more.
Gotcha. That is a good point. You remind me of the capability of having logic built into the forms. And so, again, it's that shift in thought. Because I used to think, oh, I've got to put all these questions up here up front
Mhm,
and think about it from that perspective.
mm,
But you can have what they call progressive forms,
mhm,
where if a user answers a question this way, then it will, take them to another form or another question. And if they happen to say no, and that next question isn't relevant, it'll skip right over it. So I think that's a cool thing that people never really think about, is the logic behind those questions. So now, I know you've done this a couple of times. So, for me, I always think I'm just gonna build the page and put the page up today. But I know it's more involved than that. Like, you have to set the page, build the form, build the sequence, build the triggers, all that stuff. How long does it usually take for you when working with clients to get that, even if it is just a single page with a responder? How long does that usually take?
man,
Oh, about a week.
it depends on, so they're probably thinking, "Oh, it's just a page." But for me, I'm an automation specialist. So I know that the back end is where we want everything to be strategically generated, right? And so first I have to map that out. So that may, depending on what mindset I'm in, okay, it may take 2 days for me to really come up with the flow.
Gotcha.
Then I have to build the flow out. So then if the flow, of course it has emails, then I have to generate the email. So I'm a say not just a week, like a week and a half.
Like a week and a
Because
half.
you have to, now if you just want a page, blam, bam, bam, there's your page. Nothing on the back end is working. It's not converting. It's not capturing. It's not nurturing. It's not just about the page. It's about the journey, the relationship you're trying to build. And you can't do that by doing things so fast. Like everybody wants everything this fast. And then they're like, it's not working. It's because you rushed the process.
Yeah.
So, Imma say a week and a half to 2 weeks. just for one
Yeah.
page, just
Yeah.
because the automations that go on the back end need to be thought out.
Yeah. I think that's a good point because it's something, again, even I don't think about. So I think it's a lot of folks out there who just think, oh, I'm just gonna put my logo on the side and put some about copy, and here's these questions, and it'll be done today. So now, when going through that process, do you like? Well, I guess two things. One, I almost forgot, but when you talk about workflows, so I know there's AI workflows
Mhm.
in there. What's the difference between a regular workflow and an AI workflow?
I was about to be so super simple, you just don't know. Um, so the regular workflow is you have to think of every scenario, right? You have to think of what you need to say, how you wanna lead them down, um, and it doesn't have any AI elements or components in it, right? It's all email, text, and notifications, and all of those things. Um, with the AI, what it's doing is incorporating that live component of AI being able to answer any questions or generate emails based on the behavior. Now, I haven't played with that yet to see how it does, but my wish list is that AI would go out, research this person, and customize an email for every person, right? So just like one of the tools you and I use, like if it can go and it can look and scan the person's LinkedIn profile or whatever and say, hey, I see that you're into, I don't know, drag racing like I am. I see that you're into drag racing, blah blah blah, and kind of give them that customized messaging that'll get them to open it and read it and understand what you're trying to deliver with your messaging.
Yeah.
That's my wish list. So I don't know if it could do that or not. That would be the best case scenario. I do know inside of high level, we can include what's called workflow AI, which you can just include chat GPT inside of your workflow inside of high level.
Yeah, I saw that, which is pretty cool. So it's got like the ability to, and I think when you mention like, so say for instance, Apollo does like an external scan of
Mhm,
LinkedIn, but I think um, the way Go High Level does it, it's more just responsive to the content that it gets. So if
mhm,
somebody writes an email, it can look at that email and respond to it, but it can't necessarily reach out and look at their LinkedIn or look at their
mhm.
Facebook or whatever. So now, have you um, played with training it specifically on like your custom data or like your
Mhm,
FAQs, your price list, and all that stuff?
mhm.
How
Yeah.
does that work? Do you have to load PDFs or do you put
Mm.
links to your websites or how does that work?
So when you initially train it, you're going to put your website link in there and it's going to crawl that website to gather all the information it can, right? So you got to make sure your website is together. Then as it you can put initially, remember you were talking about those questions. So you could put frequently asked questions in there.
Yeah.
So you have to think about like what are people DMing me? What are people asking me? What are people saying? What do they want to know? What are they going to generally ask? And then you put the answer in it's called Q&A part, and that answer is what ChatGPT is going to pull from. Also, you have the ability to play with it. It's kind of like a sandbox, like where you could play with the back end and you can just ask it whatever you think someone may ask and see how it responds. If it doesn't respond in a way you want, you can say nope, you can put thumbs down and then tell it, this is how I want you to respond to this. and then it'll take that, put it in its little computer database, and when someone says that, that's how it'll respond. And I really like it because it's no limit to how many of those Q&As you can load up. So as you see it like responding to people and you're like, "Ooh, I want you to respond to that a little better." You can go ahead and take that, put it in the Q&A, and it'll do it. Also, you can do it live when it's like responding. You can hit it and say, "No, I didn't like this response." And then tell it why or what you wanted, how you wanted to respond in the future.
Wow, I didn't know you could do it live. So I mean, well,
Mhm.
two things. I didn't know you could do it live, and I didn't know. I think I knew you could look at the history, but I didn't think of going back in the history, responding to historical conversations, so you can do further training. So I mean, it's really like having your own chat GPT. It's like your
Mhm.
site is now an AI site that
Mhm.
knows itself. you know.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, mine, I have only had it running for a couple of months, but this thing is getting smarter and smarter, and especially on Instagram where people are sending those, what do you call them? I don't wanna say
Spam.
spam.
Yeah.
Be the top 100 entrepreneur or something like that. And the way it just responds to it, like, if I'll give you a prime example. I was in a grocery store the other day and I seen a message come through. I don't remember what that message was. It was something like, I don't know, they were trying to do some kind of WhatsApp or something, but the way it initially came through, I was trying to find it, I don't know where it's at, but the way it initially came through, it was to the point where I thought it was really a person inquiring about business. Man, I was like, "Oh." Then I saw something about WhatsApp. I said, "Oh, Imma let ChatGPT handle that." And it did, basically. Like, basically, it just tells it, like, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you need systems in your business, this is what we do. This is how you can book appointment. Do you want to book appointment? So it's getting like saucy like me now at this point.
Oh, that is why. that is wow. So now, and you mentioned that because I was having this thought earlier today. So Go High Level has the AI workflows. It learns. It is able to reference existing content to understand context and tone and approach and all that stuff. And then on top of that, you have the AI content creation tool. So
Mhm.
theoretically, when you're training the base level AI, it'll also be able to train the content creation aspect of it. So when you're going forward and creating new content for your site, it's doing so with knowledge of tone, you know, tone of voice, what's authentic to your brand, and what sort of context you would be talking about. So it's almost like you've got your own AI site, like it's a self-driving, self-answering sort of AI site. I don't think people focus on that enough, but it's like that, isn't it?
I don't know because I don't use content AI.
Okay,
So I I still use my
Chat
Chat
GPT.
GPT because I've put all of that information in there, right? And so it has all of that. And I don't
Gotcha.
use content AI inside the system for that reason because Chat GPT, that I've trained that one to
Gotcha.
speak in my voice and do all those things, right? Right, like we were talking about. So I guess if I did play with content AI and see, maybe,
Yeah.
and
So
see if it's pulling from what it
from the
already
body,
has. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
great point.
So I do the same thing because I have a very elaborate setup on my Chat GPT. But I have one client who I set him up and he's got his site and he's got his content and everything's there. And he was loading up his social content in the social planner. and he used the content AI because he was already in the tool. So he was like, I'm just gonna tell it to make social posts right in
Mhm,
there. So he doesn't use anything else. Whether it's
mhm,
images, he
mhm,
uses the AI right in there. So I haven't done it yet. But what I was thinking, the way I train the image generators outside of the tool to have a certain
mhm.
distinctive look, you can load your brand specifications, how you want your images, how you want your language to look, and then right in there it will do it, influencing or having that in mind. I haven't done
Mhm.
it yet, but that seems like it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, because your images are amazing, like, I'm definitely trying to get there, but, yeah, I would love to see what you come out with that, just using that, how it does compared to the other, um,
Hmm.
AI generate image generators to see if you can establish the same crisp and clean look that your images have.
Yeah, I'll have to test it and see how it works out. But anyway, we can talk more because I think we're almost at time.
We
But
are.
anything else on the pages we want to talk about?
No, I think it's just makes it so easy, right? It's so easy because you could just duplicate, put your images in there. Like I know like a lot of realtors they get photographs, they may have video, they may have like that 360. You could throw your 360 video in there. You can put on here's one thing you could do on those pages as well. Even if you don't have an opt-in, you could put an opt-in on that page to where they can't look at the page until they put their
Without,
information in.
I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's dope.
High
That is
level makes it easy, man.
that's a gem to end it with. And so with that, we'll be back tomorrow talking about more high level. And before we leave, so how do people? Because I know there's a lot of people that'll hear this and want to know how they get in touch with you and how to
Mhm.
work with you. Where can they find you? How do they get in touch with you to figure out how they can make pages for themselves?
Right, so they can go to systemsactivate.com.
All
That's it.
right. Systemsactivate.com. Awesome. Happy Wednesday. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.